the shows on the way because I hadn't ever been there before, and I talked with both of them. And of course,
Gracie, I wonder, what does it take to do what you've done? Does it take intelligence or brass, or does it take stupidity or foolishness? What does it take to come from Morton, a town of 1,100, 1,400 people, and go to Seattle and set up your own extravaganza, and not only that, but to do it successfully as you've done?
well, Al, it takes a little bit of ignorance. You know, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Sometimes if you don't know that something can't be done, you find that it's quite easy to do because you go ahead and do it. But I think most of all, it takes singleness of purpose. This has always been my little inspiration to myself and what I try to give to other people when they ask me, how did you do it? So many people have a lot of talents, and they diversify themselves, and they do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, hobbies, 2 or 3 different things, and they never really accomplish a whole lot. They do these things quite well. But if you have singleness of purpose, if you concentrate on just one project, one thing that you're going to do, it's just like beating on something, you know. Pretty soon you're going to make a dent.
Well, let's find out how you made your dent. Now, you started, as far as the entertainment business is concerned, with the PTA Follies in Morton. Is this right? What kind of a town is Morton?
Well, Morton is 2 blocks long. It has 1,140 people, and quite a few of those are children. The logging community.
It's essentially, it's a logging community,
yeah.
And I suppose it fluctuates, its prosperity fluctuates
with the weather.
Well, you were here in Morton, and how did you get involved with the Morton Follies?
Well, you know, it's kind of something that you do out of, really, as I say, I once read where the mass of men live lives of quiet desperation, and until you have lived in a little town like this, you'll never know what desperation can be, and everybody is searching for something to do, you know, and I think that's how I became involved in it. Of course, I've always been a frustrated ham, and loved to do anything connected with shows, and then when I was a child I wanted to be a movie star, you know how it goes.
So you started the Follies. What were they?
Well, they were a terrific show. You know, I will argue with anyone who says it wasn't a good thing. We did them for 6 years, and they were about 2 hours long, a typical variety show using all the home talent. We sometimes had 100 people, most of the time, 100 people in the cast. And everybody's got a little bit of ham in them, you know, and gee, those people would get up there and just give the most terrific performances. They were wonderful.
What kind of things you do? Just usual variety?
Well, I wrote, the thing always was written, borrowed, stolen, directed, and produced by Gracie.
Female Orson Welles,
yes. And I would write some blackouts, you know, trying to use the people who I knew wanted to participate. And then we always had a chorus line. We had 10 of the young housewives. I think one time we figured up and they had about 26 children between them, but I would get a dancing teacher to teach them how to dance, and they worked real hard, and they were terrific. They really were. And we had a real variety, you know, of acts.
And these were always in the form of benefits. They were to make money for something.
PTA got all the money. One year they bought chairs for the auditorium, and then they had a dental fund to fix teeth for children who...
How much did you raise with these?
Oh, we used to make around $1,000.
I'll be done. In Morton?
Yes.
Well, you must have drawn people from...
Oh, we did. They came from Seattle and all over. It was terrific. And then for the last 3 years, we were taking some of the show out on the road, you know.
Oh,
we
really?
would go to Tacoma and perform for the Fifi Temple of the Shrine. We went to the Elks Clubs in Centralia and Chehalis, and it was a lot of fun.
Whatever happened to the Follies?
Well, as I say, the shows got too adult in this way, you know. Some of these people would get carried away, and they would say, gee whiz, Gracie, you know, I've got to have a little fortification before I can get up there and make a fool of myself. And I sometimes wish I were clever enough to write some of the things that they came up with, but some of the things were just too adult for the PTA.
And so it dwindled.
Yes, we kind of just stopped it.
Well, how many years or how long before you went to Seattle and eventually got tied up with Century 21 did the Morton Follies?
Oh, just a year. My last Morton Follies was in 1958. And you see, I used to work all winter on them. This was my project for the winter, and then that winter I had nothing to do. And I was very ill and very broke and feeling very sorry for myself. And I had a friend who came over and gave me this pep talk, you see, that, gee, look what you did with the Morton Follies. Why don't you go up to the Seattle World's Fair? And, of course, I thought she was absolutely right.
I was going to say, on the face of it sounds ridiculous, but
yeah.
you don't. This is a difference.
Well, sure. So, you see, then I began to think about it, and I quit feeling sorry for myself, and I got well immediately. And they gave me something to work on.
A little bit of Christian Science there.
Well, I don't know. I never thought of it in that way, although I am a great believer in faith. You know, I have a little mustard seed that when I got it, it had a little card on it that said, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, it shall be done unto you. So I carry this little thing with me all the time because I think you need to have certain amount of faith, even if it's only faith in yourself, that you can do this.
So you got into a battered old Buick, and you
sure did.
trundled without any money up to Seattle. Who did you go to first?
Well, I went up to the fair offices, which were up in the top of the old Civic Auditorium. We had to wind around up there, and I had Morton mud on my shoes, you know, and they were very amused. They told me now that we were very amused with you. And I just went in cold and said I want to put on a show. You see, everybody has a mission in life, and I decided that my mission must be to save the fair from science.
Marvelous. You succeeded, but I'm sure it wasn't that simple.
No.
What did they do? What was their immediate reaction?
Oh, well, they were very amused, and they said, well, Miss Hanson, you know, don't you call us, we'll call you. And so I went back to Morton, and then I would write letters up here, and I'd get a pamphlet with a picture of the Space Needle back on it. And so I decided that I had to get closer to the work, you see. So I started to look for a job in Seattle.
I see.
And I found one in the Savings and Loan Association and moved up here and went to work. And then I made out this list, you see. You've got to have money before you can do anything. And I made out a list of all the people I'd ever heard of in Seattle who had money. And I began checking them off, and I would go and call on them in my lunch hour or after work or on Saturdays. And I would give them this pitch, you know, have you ever been to a World's Fair, or do you know anyone who has? And if so, what do they remember? And you know what they all remember is Little Egypt, Sally Rand, Billy Rose, and some of those things. And no one can tell you about an exhibit that they saw any place. So I formulated my pet theory, you see, that science will never replace sex or cotton candy. And finally I found someone who agreed with me.
Uh-huh. And you found someone or quite a few people?
I found a gentleman who agreed with me. In fact, he was a Chinese gentleman and very prominent in the Chinese community. The Chinese are the greatest gamblers in the world, you know.
Yeah.
And they do things in little pieces. And so he asked me how much money I needed, and I said, well, probably $100,000. So he called up 28 Chinese people and asked them if they would each put up $5,000, and 18 of them said they would, so we had $90,000. So I went running back out to the fair with me. I had money, you see, and they wouldn't believe me. So I had to get him to take the bank book down and show it to them. And, of course, then they were very interested in talking about this.
Well, now, they call your show a $250,000 show. Where did the other
absolutely.
$160,000
Well, actually, after we got into the thing, you know how it goes. Nothing ever costs what you think it will.
Yeah.
It's always more. And, of course, the fair was very particular that it be a quality show. And, of course, we wanted it to be a first-class show, too. We started out with 300 seats. We increased it to 700. So all these things cost more money, and it came in little pieces, like the original money investors put in.
I see. All right. So now you have come from Morton. You've got the job. You've got the money. You've got Century 21, so that they're willing to talk. How did, following this single-mindedness of purpose, or single-mindedness?
Singleness
Yes.
of purpose.
There we go. Thank you. Following this, how did you go about developing the kind of show you wanted?
Well, I had, as I say, in line with being a frustrated ham, I always read Variety and the show business, the papers, and I knew that there were two big names in the business who did first-class shows, and that was Don Arden and Barry Ashton. So I decided, in order to do a first-class show, you must have one of these first-class gentlemen. So I made a trip to Las Vegas and Los Angeles last summer, and I looked over all the shows on the way and in Los Angeles, and I talked to Don Arden and Barry Ashton both. Of course, Don Arden was committed to do the Lido shows in Paris, and also the Lido show at the Stardust in Las Vegas. And Barry Ashton has a tremendous reputation and had just gained the rights to use the Ziegfeld name, so I knew that either one of them would give us a grand show. And because of Don Arden's commitments in Paris, why, Barry actually was the better choice for us, and he has given us a tremendous show. We're very proud of it.
Now, your show isn't all girls.
Oh, no, we have four of the very best acts in show business, actually. We have Bobby Williams and his dog, and Dick Weston and his Aunt Martha. These acts have all been on Ed Sullivan, the Gary Moore show. They're terrific. In fact, Louie steals the show every night. That's Bobby Williams' dog.
How many shows do you have a day?
We do 4 every night, except Sunday we're closed.
What times do you do them?
Well, we do them at 6:15, 8, 10 o'clock, and 11:45.
And we've talked about the show. I don't think yet we've identified it. Gracie Hansen's Paradise. How'd you come by that name, Paradise?
Well, I was looking for a name, you see, that would mean like Shangri-La or something like that. And, of course, Paradise is a natural for it, a place where everybody could go in and enjoy themselves and see good entertainment. And
Now, is this strictly a theater, or is it a dinner?
no, it's a theater restaurant. We serve dinners. We have very, very good dinners. And we serve beverages, and you can eat while you watch the show, or before or after, whichever you like.
I see. What's the best way to get there? By that I mean, can you make reservations?
Yes, you bet you can. You just call us up. We're 4 different ways in the telephone book. It's under Gracie, it's under Paradise, and Seattle World's Fair, and we'd be happy to take reservations.
I see. It's a good idea to hit it on weekdays, I suppose.
Yes, well, the lines are always on weekends. People object to waiting in lines, and we do have lines on weekends.
I see. Let's get to something, and I suppose this was Barry Ashton's department, but I'm sure that you have thoughts on it. That is, how do you make sex to be in good taste?
Well, that is a hard question to answer. As you know, some of our showgirls are nude from the waist up. It's not thrust upon you. In fact, sometimes you have to look for them in there. And as yet, no one has objected and found it distasteful. So I guess it's the manner of presentation.
I do know, while I have not as yet seen the show, though I do intend to, I've talked with some friends, and particularly the wives of the friends who saw the show and were in no way embarrassed and enjoyed it thoroughly.
You know, the ladies enjoy this show as much as the men do. One of the reasons they do is because of the fabulous wardrobe. Lloyd Lambert made all of the costumes in Hollywood, and they're gorgeous. They should be. They cost us around $46,000.
That's
So
half
the
of your
ladies-
$90,000 right there. The fashion show. Now, is this? You also have a regular fashion show during the daytime.
Well, yes. Now we're doing it only on special occasions. We do a fashion show and a luncheon at special requests.
I know we've had some films of your fashion show here on our women's program that Elaine Horn took when she visited the fair and did a program on it. Gracie, the Barry Ashton and the girls and the comedians that go with the show, this is your singleness of purpose come true, right?
Absolutely. I'm living proof, Al, that you can come out of the hills as I did, or you can come from anywhere and do what you really want to do if you have singleness of purpose.
Okay, now this question interests me. You've had singleness of purpose, but the purpose has been achieved. What are you going to focus in on and go after with all your might next?
Oh, golly, this is what I'm in the throes of trying to decide because it's unlimited. I might go to the New York World's Fair. Nobody thought that I could make the Seattle World's Fair but me. And I'm sure that if I wanted to go to the New York World's Fair, I could do it. And I'm also thinking about perhaps doing some just presentations here in Seattle. I love Seattle. And I could bring in some shows from the Orient, bring in some Las Vegas shows for 2 weeks runs now and then. And I'm getting some very interesting offers for, restaurants and with little shows that may be interesting, except I don't want to end up running a restaurant someplace, But one very, very interesting offer is for a chain in Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco. Now, I would love this hopping around. So I haven't made up my mind yet. As soon as the fair is over, I'm going to go back to New York and nose around for 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, is the name Gracie Hansen in the future going to necessarily mean girls and glitter? Is this your trademark?
Oh, not necessarily girls and glitter, but I would like to have it mean some kind of entertainment, good entertainment. I'm still ham and still stage struck, you see.
One last question. Have you ever been back to Morton?
Not yet, but you know what? I'm going back to Morton August the 12th for the Jubilee, and I'm going to be the Grand Marshal of the Loggers Jubilee Parade, and it's kind of a homecoming for me. And they're presenting me with the keys to the city, and so I'm taking 2 busloads and I don't know how many cars full of people to Morton because nobody believes Morton, you see, and I want them to see it.
Well,
so everyone's invited.
Well, Gracie, good luck in New York or San Francisco or wherever it may be, and also in Morton.
Oh, thank you, Al.